So you'd probably like to learn how to make your burgers suck a lot less. You've probably eaten at the place where more than 4 guys, but less than 6 guys make all of your burger wet dreams come true. You go home motivated to duplicate your meaty encounter, only to be choked up by some nasty generic tasting buns and some dry meat. Like most good burgers, you're going to need some bacon, or at least some hippie bacon. Or you can just use bacon. Either way, you're also going to need butter and some basics like pepper, some blurry onion powder, and I used Cajun seasoning and garlic salt this time. But honestly, seasoning lies in the eye of the meat holder. Just know that that will likely upset her. So it's a good thing you had the sense to make her burgers with brioche. Just don't tell her that it's made with old leftover prosciutto. Let her have some control. This is America. Cheese. She might want to get smoked. Or feel mild. Or exotic and full of holes. I'll only assert my dominance with one thing, and that's that you try this dish with pesto. You said you'd try anything once, right? This brings us to the final and most important ingredient, the meat, which you are going to want to make a point to get all of your seasonings incorporated into without mixing the heck out of your meat. The more you mix it, the less ideal the meat becomes for smashburgers. You want to keep some of those little air pockets in there. If you mix it to death, you're going to end up with really dense patties. You don't want that. I'm serious. This is no time foreplay. If you screw this part up, you're never going to be satisfied with your sandwich. This is the point where this burger starts to differentiate itself from the normal. I like to add American cheese. This time I added a smoked cheddar. It wasn't as good, in my opinion. You might like it. But American cheese for me just gets nice and melty. Call me basic, but I like American cheese in my burger. You could add crumbles of blue cheese. As we've established, I'm basic. I don't like my cheese blue or crumbly. The beautiful part about these burgers is that being such a thin smash burger, you only need to cook it about 2 to 3 minutes per side. I typically do 3 minutes on the first side and 2 minutes on the second side. The short cook time ensures that you can add pretty much whatever cheese you want without worrying about burning. Now it goes without saying that the size of the ball of meat you need to make for your patty is going to vary depending on the size of the bun you're putting your meat in. I'm using little brioche sliders, and I'm making mine roughly the size of... I need to consult someone a little smarter than me. Let me go ask my doctor friend. Yep, clementines. I usually smash my burgers using the bottom of a bowl that I've covered in a little bit of olive oil to keep the meat from sticking. But today, this is YouTube. Okay, here it goes. While our pan comes up to temp on medium heat, we need to have a very important discussion. There's going to be some shrinkage. Just know that it's nothing to be ashamed of and that it happens to everybody. It's perfectly normal. Through trial and error, you will learn how to compensate. For example, I compensated by marrying a tiny Asian woman with even tinier Asian hands that makes even the puniest, most flaccid of smash burgers look like something you'd see on TV. One of those shows where if the host can finish it in 1 hour, his meal is free, comes with a t-shirt, picture on the bulletin board, as well as several days of shame. Now that you have seen the shrinkage and know what to expect, and you understand, we can move on. The short 2 to 3 minutes per side that it takes such thin patties to cook is plenty of time to plan out your burger toppings. This is an important step to do now because when you're assembling your burgers on the pan like I do, if you take too long, your bread is gonna burn. While these cook, let's get to it. We'll check back in on these in a little bit. The first one that I'm setting up for is my favorite way to have this sandwich. It's got pesto, prosciutto, smoked cheddar, and Swiss. The second burger that I'm planning has American and cheddar, prosciutto, and chipotle ranch, which I guess I thought I was going to be fast enough for, but the ranch never made it onto my sandwich. And I realize these last two look pretty basic, but it's because I haven't cooked my turkey bacon yet. Speaking of cooking, let's check in on our burgers. We're going to give this last one a flip, and then we're going to speed the footage up a little bit. Again, 2 to 3 minutes per side on medium heat works for me on my stovetop, but know that every stovetop is different. You might end up with a couple of hockey pucks in the process, and that's okay. The benefit of these sliders is that each patty being so small keeps your lessons learned pretty cheap. Now I'm going to take all 3 patties out and set them on a plate lined with a paper towel. I like to put mine in the toaster oven on the warm setting, just to keep my patties from getting cold. Don't let your patties get cold, they will stick to your paper towel. In my opinion, whenever you're cooking burgers, it's a good idea to go ahead and scrape off the remnants from your previous batch of patties before adding any more patties. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some burnt tasting meat. At this point, I'm going to add my second batch of patties, still on medium, closer to medium-high heat. I'm going to smash them with a bowl that I've dipped in the rendered fat from the pan, hopefully ending up a little bit thinner than my first stumpy little batch. I'll spare you from watching all that shrinkage again. This batch was done exactly the same way as the first, just with the patties a little bit thinner. 2 to 3 minutes on the first side, 2 minutes on the second side. Now you're going to want to take your fully cooked patties and put them with your other fully cooked patties so that you can use this pan for bacon, or in my case prosciutto. I'm going to start some turkey bacon on another pan. Admittedly, I'm being quite inefficient here for the sake of making this YouTube video. Ideally, you want to have your turkey bacon cooking in the background while you're making your burgers, while you're making your prosciutto. You can cook as many things at once as your skill level or time management skills allow. Believe it or not, this particular clip is not sped up at all. Prosciutto cooks that fast. This makes prosciutto really good in my opinion for putting things like cheese or even thick sauces in. I've been known to put leftover stroganoff in here, leftover alfredo. I've even been known to wrap up the leftover butter mix from making chicken Kiev and prosciutto in these sandwiches. Give that one a shot. Chicken Kiev video coming soon to a theater near you.
Stop it. Get some help.
If you don't know what chicken Kiev is, I am truly sorry. You owe it to yourself to click subscribe and the notification bell so that way when my chicken Kiev video comes out, you will be enlightened. You are so very welcome. I realized back when you saw me set out ingredients for each sandwich, the bread was already toasted. And as we've established, I'm doing this very inefficiently in the interest of trying to make a YouTube video. All I'm doing here, as I've said, is buttering and browning the inside of these brioche rolls that I've cut in half for about a minute or 2 on medium-low heat is all it'll take. And don't worry, I'm going to fast forward through this. Once the inside of all your bread begins to look something like this, or more like these, you can go ahead and start assembly. The best part about these is that everything is still hot, unless of course you're making a YouTube video like me. But in the time that it takes you to assemble your pre-organized burger, the one bun sitting on the pan is pretty well done. Give it a smush and a flip, and then wait for the other bun to brown. This burger that you're about to see me cut into in a moment is nowhere near as pretty and melty as what you saw in my apparently clickbaity intro, because I took too long and let stuff cool off while setting up for recording. Also, don't be an idiot. Don't be like me. Don't cut stuff on your nonstick pans, even if they're cheap, crappy nonstick pans. They're your nonstick pans. Don't cut on them. Did I say that I messed up and let these cool off too much? No. I did this on purpose. Yeah. That way you could see all the different layers. You can see the cheese, the burgers, the prosciutto. Yeah. Completely intentional. Now the smart way to handle this self-inflicted temperature issue would be to turn the temperature down from medium to low and leave it covered with a lid for a few minutes. That way everything gets good and warm and melty again. But nobody wants to watch this. You all want to see carnage. You just want to watch the world burn.
Oh my goodness! Squidward!
And that never happened. Oh look, a buttery pan ready to receive some buns. In the interest of not making this video 15 minutes long, I'm only going to show the construction of a couple of these burgers. The last one is going to have pesto. So once I've got my pesto on my bread, I'm going to put both of my patties back on my pan to warm them up. And through the magic of editing, they're already warm on the one side and ready to be flipped. So that way when I put my cheese down on top of my pesto, the moment I put the burger down on the cheese, the burger's going to melt into the cheese, and then I can throw cheese on top of my burger, and the cheese is going to melt into the burger. You put down your prosciutto, you put down some more cheese, then you burn yourself. And then you grab your handy-dandy pair of dad tongs, and you give them a couple of dad clicks. Gotta make sure they still work. They work. So you get the gist of this by now. I'm finishing this sandwich off with some prosciutto, more cheese, some hippie bacon, another patty, even more cheese, and obviously another bun that we're gonna smash and burn. You know what? No, you're wrong. Have some self-confidence. This is not going to be burnt. It's going to be beautifully browned. I promise that I can kind of cook, kind of. And don't look my shame directly in the eyes. But what kind of internet would this be if everything wasn't perfect all the time? Let's just flip this over to the unburnt side. Yeah. And then let's roll that B-roll. If you followed along and cooked with me, or if you just liked this video, please help me to grow this channel into your virtual recipe box by subscribing, hitting like, and the notification bell. As I said before, this burger is limited by your imagination and your imagination only, or the leftovers in your refrigerator, whatever you feel like putting on this burger. I encourage everybody to leave a comment below, letting everybody else know what their favorite combinations were on this. Aw crap, all out of B-roll.